Okay, so this is the drive as you leave the property and you're heading into town. Remember one thing about this community, okay, this is an agrarian community. So many people in the town live as much off the grid as possible. So they do their own farming. They can raise their own meat. A lot of the folks in the community still use the old home remedies. And everything is close by. Now, if you see that mountain ahead of us, that's the ski resort. That's Chimney Peak. So that's how close you are. So we got farm going up over, you got corn going up over here. And then everyone has vegetable gardens. So I think that's really cool. And here we go. We just passed a little elementary school. We just passed the library. We just passed the funeral home. Just passed one of the churches. And here's this creek. This is called the Kinderhook Creek. And it goes right through town. Back in the 1800s, this was part of the Underground Railroad. During slavery, they would use this with the abolitionists to get up to Canada. And this is one of the rivers. The Kinderhook is a river that runs along the Hudson. And this little sleepy town was something that no one was able to find. So even today, it's one of the most authentic towns in the Northeast. In fact, if you go see the movie, I think it's called Remembering Woodstock, this is where they filmed that, because it's so retro. But it's so authentic and it's real. Again, one of the reasons why I love this is because it's some part of the digital platform, the high-speed world, that is exciting but also traumatic. Hasn't hit this place. Now, you still have access to it, but you don't have to sit there and let the walls close in on you, if you know what I mean. And I think more than any other time, it's a time for us, as performers in that space, to be able to access every bit of new intelligence and new thinking and creativity. And the only way I was able to find to be able to access it is I had to get away from all the noise, but still be in the conversations. That makes sense? So this is one incredible way to do that, and that's in part how I came up with the concept of sort of California in New York, right? Okay, so we're almost halfway to the ski resort, and they have mountain biking like you saw. They have plenty of family activities. It's another great cultural experience because, like a village, you have people from all over the world that come. So it's a bit international too, which I also think is kind of cool. A lot of bed and breakfasts around here, sort of like up in the outer banks of Tahoe. But again, being in New York, it's just kind of cool because you have access to Boston, New York, and D.C. You got over 40,000 Stanford alumni within 2.5 hours. I mean, if you're into that power network, or you know that you have business that needs to be close to that, or you just want to have your family to have experience in New York, but you still want to have the capabilities to escape, to have country and solitude, and sort of have that sanctuary, this is the place. Now, this is, like, if you want to know what rush hour looks like out here, this is our rush hour. Oh, what's the birds crossing the road? Now, over to your right, you'll see some more corn going up. And in just a bit, you'll see we have one of the other local farms. And what they're going to produce is organic blueberries, organic strawberries. It's the pumpkin patch. They raise their own Christmas trees. Of course, maple syrup, because as we're driving along, I don't know all the different sort of trees. I mean, I know we have birch, and we have oak, and we have black cherry, and we have maple, but do a lot of maple syruping here. So that's also a little cottage industry. Again, it's all organic, all going around you. A lot of joggers and bikers that get out. What's cool about it, it's just totally safe. There's no violence and there's no crime. Which also, if you've got a family it just does something for you. You don't have to invest any of your time or your thinking or your intelligence or your queries as you're creating and inventing in the digital space. You don't have to invest it or have it taken up in any of those places. You know what I mean? You just don't have to think about that stuff. And again, I like it because it just gives you access to different parts. And you know, in this business, in this new space, it's all about ideas and being able to communicate them, scale them, sustain them, and then monetize, right? Okay, so here we go, coming up here. I mean, it's nothing. You're going to have, I just got to let you know, if you come out early in the morning, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you got to watch for the deer, of course. We get black bear that run through town. A lot of the big turtles that come out of the creeks at night will cross here. Again, this is your main road. It doesn't get any more complicated than this, which I really, really like. And then you could see these this community. Now, look how close we are. See, right now we're about to enter into Massachusetts, and you've got all the windmills going there. Again, that's the Chimney Peak. That's the resort. Everyone's literally off the grid now because they're producing so much of organic energy. And then in 1 second, we'll take you by one of the farms. I'll show you a couple of the other organic farms that everyone has, but it's almost no big deal up here because everyone has an organic farm. That's what you've had for years, because farmers didn't have any other stuff they would put on their food or pesticides or all that. You just did it in your backyard. So we're almost at sort of the epicenter of activity. And here's one of the farms. It's called the Peas Farms. You can look across the street. They just finished strawberries. The corn's growing. Fresh blueberries. And that's kind of it.